Are you a program director, tutor, or seasoned adult education advocate? Are you concerned about the future of funding in your state to support adult education programs and students? The 2020 recession caused by the COVID-19 pandemic saw adults with less than a high school diploma suffer the highest unemployment rate compared to all other education levels. Adult learners need our support, now more than ever. You know that advocacy is essential, but where to begin? ProLiteracy can help. Our mission is to change lives and communities through the power of adult literacy. And that starts with empowering adult education and literacy programs to advocate for their learners. Whether you're new to advocacy, working as a program director, or part of a larger coalition, we built this toolkit for you. Written by literacy titan Jackie Taylor with contributions from David Rosen, Michelle Dichik, and advocacy experts from across the United States, the ProLiteracy Advocacy Toolkit is available now for free and is packed with the tools you need to begin or build on your advocacy efforts. In this video, we break down 5 ways this toolkit will empower you to begin your advocacy work. In 2020, the Program for the International Assessment of Adult Competencies released valuable state and county literacy and numeracy skills estimates, including critically important data which has not been available to local programs for 20 years. We provide a step-by-step breakdown for you to understand the basics, the background, and how to begin presenting your local literacy and numeracy data based on your specific advocacy goals.
We really dug into the data, and all this data is available through the skills map where you can download spreadsheets. With the assistance of an intern, we pulled together a bunch of data here just to make it easier for the counties in Florida to compare their data to other counties. Essentially, you can parse the data and really look at how you compare both literacy and numeracy and other key factors.
Whether you're talking to large private donors or politicians in your region, developing effective messaging is essential. Sometimes it is difficult for your audience to fully understand the importance of adult education and literacy. In this section, we provide basic approaches that reliably get the attention you need, like by framing your advocacy work alongside critical societal issues and the big budget items people strongly care about, and how to best use those messages when asking for support.
The part that I think is really powerful is that you can compare literacy and numeracy data with other kinds of data. And you can do that in different ways with each map. So for example, with the NCES PIAAC skills map, you get literacy and numeracy, but you can also compare it with other things. So for example, there is a high correlation with low literacy and health in many parts of the country. And if where you are, that is true, that is a very persuasive argument that will get people's attention beyond those who are interested in adult education and literacy.
Public policy advocacy is important because if no one is providing a voice for the issues in the community, it can result in a critical loss of funding. The advocacy process can be a long-term commitment, but one of crucial importance for many communities. We look into the importance of advocating with state and local legislators, crafting a targeted message, and how to take manageable, proactive steps toward policy advocacy for towns, counties, regions, and at the state level in the U.S.
We are really focused on having people build relationships with the legislators and key elected officials, not just at a time when you have to ask for a favor, but throughout the whole year. I can't say enough about how important the personal connection was to getting the people who have stayed with us as a legislative champion and been the most effective.
Whether they're local on city councils or commissions, strong legislative long-term champions that are supporting adult education and literacy are really the best persuaders to convince their fellow members, their peers, to support the request for additional funding.
Fundraising in the private sector isn't as different as advocating for public policy as you may think. We present principles for communication and relationship building that are key to advocating with foundations and corporations. It's not just about the financials, though. as we break down how corporate donors can become advocates for adult education and literacy. If you are not advocating with individual donors, corporations, or foundations, you may be missing an opportunity to get a significant portion of private funding for your program or association.
What did we learn about successful advocacy? First, build relationships with everyone. You never know who your key allies might be. We have a tendency to negotiate against ourselves. Try to avoid asking for less than you need. Social media is key. It's a way of amplifying your message, and it's a way of holding policymakers accountable. You need a strategic, targeted message. And finally, having a clear implementation plan that's easy to articulate. Assume you'll be successful and be prepared.
The ProLiteracy Advocacy Toolkit is full of real-world insights, case studies, and resource tools and templates that you can reference and put to use immediately. It goes without saying, COVID-19 has presented unique challenges for advocacy. However, this toolkit provides insight on how to advocate remotely during a time when in-person work just isn't possible, and how technology can be helpful not only for those who cannot travel, but also as an effective tool in gathering support and communicating with decision makers who may be hard to reach otherwise.
A lot of our advocacy took place by a grassroots movement of coalition members from about 200 different organizations throughout the state. And we did a lot of marches. That's where we had our voices heard. That's where we had our students speak. That's where we had our directors speak and some of our legislators. Obviously, with the challenges that came with COVID, we had to turn to having that legislative movement virtually. We also had to look at our common tactics and amplify those. For example, the letters to the editors, the writing campaigns, mobilizing the community to make phone calls and continue to show up at virtual rallies that different legislators were having.
Advocacy takes many forms, and this toolkit will help you navigate all of them. We made this toolkit for you because really, we are all working for them. Download the free ProLiteracy Advocacy Toolkit today.